Hey everyone, it's Ankylosaur. I hope you're all doing well. Today, I'm going to break down the top performing Competitive Pauper EDH decks of 2023 by looking at the 7 major tournaments that took place this year. CPDH is a very diverse format, with plenty of room for innovation and brews, but over the past year, certain decks rose to the top of the standings again and again. So we're going to take a look at the winners and finalists from each tournament, then highlight the most successful commanders of the year. I haven't dug into the open play data for this video, and there are certainly many more decks that people have had success with outside of tournament play, but by focusing on tournament finishes, we get a look at the commanders that have proven themselves over multiple rounds at the highest levels of competition in the format. These are the decks that defined the competitive meta this year, and if you're prepping to play in an event yourself, you should know how these decks operate and be ready to sit down across the table from them. I'll have links to the deck lists in the video description below. So without further ado, let's dive into the top decks of 2023. Our first event took place on March 12th, and that was the Winter Riches to Rags tournament. 28 people gathered to battle it out over 4 Swiss rounds in Philadelphia, and in the end, Bobby Fine took it down with Gretchen Titchwillow combo. This is a deck that looks to enchant a land untapper, like Voyaging Satyr, with Freed from the Reel, which, in combination with a land that can tap for extra mana, allows you to go infinite, drawing your deck with Gretchen and find one of your compact win conditions. Rounding out the top 4 of the tournament, we had Vizkopa Guildmage, which is a life gain and drain deck, Tetiova Benthic Druid, a landfall deck that runs the Peregrine Drake Ghostly Flicker combo, and Third Path Iconoclast, an Izzet deck looking to win through either Peregrine Drake or High Tide combo lines, or sometimes just a giant Rolling Thunder to the face. Speaking of Bobby Fine, our next event was the first Sanctuary Open Series tournament, which Bobby runs. This is an online webcam tournament series, and I'll have a link to the Open Series website in the video description below, so you can find out more information about the events and leagues as they get scheduled. This event, held on May 13th, had 16 participants, and our winner was Gatorbait TV, playing Abdel Adrian and Sword Coast Sailor. This is a Flicker combo deck that wins by exiling its own permanents with Abdel, then blinking Abdel to return them to play and reuse their Enters the Battlefield abilities. With Archaeomancer effects to rebuy your Flickers, and enough mana rocks to make the necessary mana to cast them, you could draw through your deck with cards like Arkham's Astrolabe or Spirited Companion, then drain the table out with Hierophant's Chalice. And if this doesn't work, you can just run people over with your army of soldier tokens too. Making the top 4 of this tournament, we also had Malcolm Dargo, a Banishing That combo deck, Gretchen Titchwillow again, and a comboless Third Path Iconoclast mid-range deck, looking to beat down with soldiers and burn the table out with a variety of pinger creatures. Next, at the end of June, was the RIW Hobbies and Games Pauper EDH 1K, held in Livonia, Michigan. A whopping 44 players made it out for the event, making it by far the largest CPDH event of the year. At the end of 5 rounds, there was one clear winner, and that was Scarecrow 1779, aka Paul of the PDH Rules Committee, playing his Vizkopa Guildmage deck. Vizkopa Guildmage is a life gain and drain deck, looking to utilize the second ability on its commander, in conjunction with spells that gain large quantities of life, to drain the table out in 1 or 2 big turns. As the second ability stacks, you can activate it more than once to double or triple the life loss you inflict on your opponents, turning a simple food token or potion of healing into 6 or even 9 life drained from each opponent. The rest of the top 4 included a tempo-based red-blue deck in Sprite Dragon, a Gruul creature-based control deck in Aranis Street Urchin, and Risen Reef, an elementals deck looking to leverage its commander to gain a ton of card advantage off of its creatures. Next, in August, we had 2 events, starting with the Sanctuary Open number 2. 15 players duked it out online in the Sanctuary PDH Discord, and this time, the winner was Mini CJ, on Dargo Kedis. This is one of the most aggressive decks in the format, looking to play a Dargo the Shipwrecker as early as turn 1 and dish out huge chunks of damage to each player with Kedis' triggered ability. Also making the top 4, we had Abdel Adrian with Agent of the Iron Throne, a black-white flickered aristocrat-style deck looking to make a lot of tokens and drain out the table with its background. We also had Malcolm Kedis Pirate combo, and our old friend Gretchen Titchwillow. Just 15 days later, the next Riches to Rags event was held in Philadelphia. 37 players showed up at the German beer hall Brauhaus Schmitz to eat some schnitzel and sling some common cardboard. And in the end, after 4 rounds and a top cut, it was Ross Berkowitz who pulled out the victory, playing Third Path Iconoclast. Ross's version of the deck runs the Peregrine Drake Flicker combo lines, looking to generate infinite mana and infinite storm, and then win the game with a massive Rolling Thunder or Grape Shot. The top 4 also included Abdel Adrian and Candlekeep Sage, a blue-white flicker deck that isn't typically legal to play due to Candlekeep Sage being a common background, but a special rule for Riches to Rags made this deck possible. Rilsa Rail, Kingpin, a blue-black initiative-based mid-range deck, and a Satyr Enchanter deck running a massive 56 enchantments also made it to the finals round. Finally, in November, there were 2 online tournaments held on back-to-back weekends. The first of which was the Sanctuary Open Series event number 3 on November 4th, the largest of the online tournaments to date, with 20 participants showing up to play. After 4 rounds into finals, Gatorbait TV once again pulled out the victory with his Malcolm Kedis list, taking down the final table on the 3rd turn of the game. Malcolm Kedis is looking to stick a Malcolm, and then turn a pinger creature like Reckless Fireweaver into a pirate. This will win the game as soon as an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, as Reckless Fireweaver will now make treasure tokens on each damage it deals to your opponents, dealing more damage and creating more treasures in an unbounded loop that only ends once all of your opponents are dead. Also making the top 4 were the blue-white flicker deck, Abdel Adrian and Sword Coast Sailor, blue-white pinger combo, Malcolm Arden, and a green-white mid-rangey Voltron build of Satyr Enchanter. And our last event of the year, held on November 11th, was the Common Cause Charity Tournament. 15 folks came out to play, and in the end, it was Obstinate taking down the event with his Loyal Apprentice deck. This is a Thopter token-focused mono-red aggro deck, looking to utilize a variety of pinger creatures and big burn spells to close out the game fast. The top 4 of the event also featured Kadira, Caller of the Small, a rabbit token aggro deck, Teshar, a mono-white artifact-based combo deck, and Cyberman Patrol, an aggressive colorless deck looking to deal a lot of damage with its artifact creatures and its commander's Afflict 3 ability. So those are the 7 major CPDH tournaments of 2023. It's been an awesome year for Pauper EDH as a whole, with lots of great competition from the great players of the format, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the tournament scene grows even more in 2024. Finally, I wanted to showcase one more time the top decks of the year in a more accessible slide that focuses on 2 things. First, how many top 4 appearances each deck had, denoted by a laurel wreath. And secondly, if their finals appearance got converted into a win, that laurel wreath is instead replaced by a trophy icon. So here are, once again, the top performing CPDH decks of 2023. In 8th place, with 2 finals appearances but no wins, is Satyr Enchanter. Tied for 6th place are the 2 breakout mono-red decks of the year, Dargo Kedis and Loyal Apprentice, each with 1 finals victory. And in 2nd place, we have a 3-way tie between Vizkopa Guildmage, Abdel Sword Coast Sailor, and Malcolm Kedis. These decks each made the finals twice over the course of the year, with 1 win apiece. Lastly, tied for 1st, we have Gretchen Titchwillow and Third Path Iconoclast. These decks each made the final tables a whopping 3 times, with 1 win for each of them. If you're looking to get into Competitive Pauper EDH, I highly recommend familiarizing yourself with these lists, and all of the decks from this video, as I'm confident each of them will show up at future events in 2024 and beyond. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.